Hi, I'm Chief Rabbi Fry Mavis, and you're watching Rabbi Doug, and I want to give you very best wishes, kol tov to all of you. May Hashem bless you all.
We're gonna see Rabbi Doug. We're gonna see Rabbi Doug. We're gonna see Rabbi Doug on your TV tonight. But Daddy, I want to watch Monday Night Football.
Forget about Monday Night Football. There's no other thing we're going to watch on Monday but Rabbi Doug.
Yeah, Rabbi Doug on TV tonight. We're going to see Rabbi Doug. Oh, everybody talk about Doug.
Shalom and welcome to Taped with Rabbi Doug. We are here at the ICJA Jewish Academy at the funeral of Hilda Rapoport. Her husband, Rabbi Dr. Shlomo Rapoport of blessed memory, was the founding principal of ICJA Jewish Academy and started when it was Chicago Jewish Academy. He was here for many years. Hilda was a real pioneer in this community and a very special person. She's been on our show before, and we're very sorry to see her go, so stay with us here on Taped with Rabbi Doug.
Some of you may remember that for many years, Hilda ran and chaired Women of Valor Awards for HTCC Shiva Women. I don't think that program exists anymore, but the last time they did it was about 5 years ago, and that's where they honored her as the Woman of Valor. And I think with that thought in mind, it's my privilege to call upon Hilda's daughters in the following order. My sister-in-law, Giselle Rapoport-Chudlovsky, my sister-in-law, Chaya Schwartz, and my wife, Ashira Ozorowski.
Again, thank you all for coming. There are a lot of nieces and nephews and cousins whom I don't really have the time to thank personally, but I will mention Yehudit because she has a serious current medical issue, and nevertheless she made it here from Atlanta to be with us today. Thank you. Hilda Rapoport was a very hard act to follow. But I'm here and she asked me to speak, so I'll just offer you some highlights from her long, remarkable life, from the daughter's perspective. I'm not speaking for my sisters. They'll speak for themselves. She was born to Edna and Harry Ross, immigrants to Chicago from Eastern Europe who came to build a new life in America in the early years of the 20th century. Pretty early years. Her father was in the meat business. Her mother was a skilled dressmaker who opened her own dress shop. And one of her parents' prime goals for little Hilda was to give their daughter what they had not received themselves, first-rate education. Occasionally, they considered alternative avenues to success. For instance, one time a talent agent came through town and he was invited to dinner, and after observing little Hilda playing, and she was as vivacious and adorable as ever, he said, "You've got to take this child to Hollywood. She could be a movie star. She could make you money." And her parents said, "Oh, not a bad idea." But then it didn't take them long to dismiss that notion, because after all, I mean, Hollywood was not the right kind of place for a nice Jewish girl to grow up. So they sent her to school, where she excelled at every level. Elementary school, afternoon Hebrew school, high school where she graduated at 15, and finally the most prestigious university they could find, University of Chicago, where she got a bachelor's and a master's degree by the age of 19. She confessed to us later, to our family, that she had always wanted to be an actress. But after she got her degrees, she turned into a more realistic option, which was teaching. So she taught at first night school classes, I think they were college level, to students who were only a little bit younger than herself. And eventually she taught in the public schools of Chicago, both as a regular teacher and a substitute. Now, anybody who has taught knows that the first thing you do when you come into a fresh room of students you haven't seen before is to demonstrate that you can control the class. So my mother had this down to a science. She used her deep, distinctive voice, lowered it a register, and frighteningly stared at the room and said, "I am your teacher. you will behave or else. You can't do it like she did. Once she had them under control, she did what was one of the things she could do best. She gave them a show. She made them laugh. She told them stories and jokes and reminiscences. She had a style like no other teachers, and they were hooked. Just about this time, she also started volunteering in local Jewish organizations, especially those doing chesed or supporting Jewish education and Israel, which were causes she believed in. She was active in Amit, Yeshiva Women, Religious Zionists, eventually the Academy Associates. And at one of these gatherings, she met someone who wanted to be a rabbi, Rabbi Shlomo Rapoport, the future Rabbi Shlomo Rapoport, Zichrono Livracha. And after a really long courtship, they married, and she had 3 daughters. As a mother, Ima, as we called her, was warm, loving, and exceedingly protective of her children. In fact, she could be a trifle overwhelming sometimes to a child because she was a force of nature, moving in whatever direction she chose, and we had to move with her. But she was fun and exciting and filled with a contagious zest for life. I went with her to shul, and she taught me how to daven, how to pray. She also, as Rabbi Rebbetzin mentioned, impressed on me the importance of going to shul on Hoshana Rabbah, which most women didn't do, but she said it's a very important time. And I also accompanied her, l'havdil, to theater, the opera, ballet, lectures, the circus, and shopping downtown. She seemed to like everything. So she was always very busy, but really she was just getting started. Because one day, the representative of a women's organization called her and said she needed a last-minute speaker for an afternoon event, and put my mother to the job. She hesitated, but something in her told her to try. So she wrote up a speech, and she delivered it, and it went very well. She did it a second time, and it was even better. The third time, it was better yet. So she did another, and another, and another, and before she knew it, she was speaking at lunches, dinners, fundraisers, Shabbos get-togethers. She performed cantatas with music, dramatic readings, and loads of book reviews where frequently the review was a lot better than the book. Really. And she became a sought-after public speaker all over the Jewish community. But she didn't do this just to prove that she could. She took it seriously. She labored over every word and phrase to make sure she got it exactly right. She practiced her speeches in the wee hours of the morning so she wouldn't be interrupted. And she was most proud when she could reach her listeners' hearts, proud to make them laugh, even cry, make them remember their past and imagine their future. As people have said, her annual tributes to the women of valor chosen by local synagogues was legendary. She made women whose achievements were not usually publicly recognized feel appreciated and special. So without formal training or coaching, and without going to Hollywood, my mother made herself an actress, and she became a star. She was also fearless and feisty and a very tough lady. The only thing in this world she was afraid of was germs. So you had to be very careful what you touched and where you sat when you entered her home. But she overcame a series of medical crises that would have finished off weaker individuals. She used to flirt with the young doctors in the ER, and then 2 hours later, argue with the same doctors about some drug or treatment that she was not going to take. Still, even she realized that sooner or later, we must all confront mortality. And in later years, she became interested in spiritual, even mystical questions. She once visited Rabbi Gedalia Schwartz, Shlita, to ask about Olam Haba, the next world. What do they do there, she said. Whom do you meet? How does it feel to be in the presence of God, to see the Shekhinah? And a great scholar that he is, Rabbi Schwartz explained and expressed thoughts from a variety of Jewish sources. But at the end, he said, you know, we really don't know about the next world because none of us has been there. But now she'll know, because she is there, or at least well on the way. And I have a vision. I can see her approaching Sharei Shamayim gates of heaven, wherever they are. And she's making a grand entrance with her signature dramatic flair. And she'll give a little talk with some Torah, some humor, maybe poetry. And when she finishes, all the other neshamot, the souls of righteous men and women, and even the malachim, angels who happen to be passing by, rise together and join in thunderous applause, because all the members of that huge celestial audience know a real star when they see one. One thing I did not inherit from my mother is a love of public speaking. But since the spoken word was so important to her, I felt that I needed to say at least a few words in her honor today. Ima has been an incredible role model for me, as well as for my daughters and granddaughter. She had tremendous drive and energy. She taught us by example how to trust in Hashem, how to relate to others, and how to get things done. Indeed, whenever we went up the stairs to her kitchen, we were reminded by the message that she had written on the blackboard that with God's help, everything is possible. Ima loved life, she loved people and community, and even when it was physically difficult for her, she exhibited unique strength and achieved things that to others would have been impossible. I want to thank you all for coming today and giving such great kavod to my mother. I also want to express a special thank you to the amazing women who I got to know who helped care for her in recent years. And I can't really mention everybody, but notably Sarah who's here, Reggie, Loretta, Maria. I've learned a lot from their patience, skill, and devotion to my mother, especially the past few weeks when I spent some time here when my mother was ill. We're so grateful that we have had Ima as part of our lives until now, and she will truly be missed by all.
This is so my mother for her funeral to be here in a happy place of life and teenagers. We all came in smiling. There was a film of my father going on and cheerleaders and a pep rally, like, yay. She didn't want her funeral in a sad place. She would have loved this, and that's why she requested it. She was kind of like Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Bella Abzug, some Jackie Kennedy and Gloria Steinem, sprinkle in some Bette Midler, though she never swore. Not any real words. Just the minor ones occasionally. And the Hannah Leibowitz, all rolled into one, with her own unique warmth, kindness, and flair. Hilda Rapoport has been a celebrity of the Jewish community for many decades, not just because she was married to somebody important, my father, Rabbi Shlomo Rapoport, Zichrono Livracha, former principal of this school, but very much in her own right, like a first lady who makes her own mark on the world. She even after he left this world, she started to call herself Hilda Ross Rapoport, just like Hillary Rodham Clinton. She actually had rather humble beginnings during the Chicago era of Maxwell Street, where she actually used to help her parents run a hot dog stand, believe it or not. Many of you certainly remember her legendary Women of Valor programs for yeshiva women, for which she spent countless hours working on each woman's bio to make sure that each honoree should feel special and important. Over the years, my mother made a gradual transition of style, from serious and dramatic to humorous and entertaining. She discovered that people like to laugh. Many of you might remember the Ida Crown Academy dinner when she was honored and insisted on speaking live rather than on video. She knew that she excelled at figuratively holding a large audience or classroom in the palm of her hand, and that was exactly how she liked it. My mother charmed everybody she met and would discover their life story within a few minutes. She'd ask, are you married? Do you want to meet somebody? She'd find out more about a person I knew for years in one brief encounter. My mother was a unique, unlikely blend of paradoxes. She often came across as larger than life, but not in an intimidating way. She enjoyed a public persona, yet was private about many things. She was flashy and vain, yet modest and serious in religion. She loved attention and to be the center of attention, but prided herself on bringing praise and joy to others, as well as making them feel good about themselves. She was uber confident with people, yet humble before God. For example, a woman who noticed her anonymously in a front row in Shul once was shocked to find out afterwards that that was Hilda Rapoport. She said, no, that couldn't be. She was like all quiet and serious. And she sometimes had a sense of entitlement about things, but she seemed to get away with it. For example, when our son Shalom traveled from our New York home to be a camper at the Yeshivas HaKayitz, my parents took him there, you know, because they were here. And when my mother saw the less than perfect mattress on the bed that would be his, she immediately used her Yeshiva women clout to get him a better one, saying, I raised a lot of money for Yeshiva women, and that's the best you can do? All kidding aside, my mother's tzedakah causes were very important to her. Another paradox, she loved the kavod, the honor that she got for her work, but she truly did care about those causes. Okay, I know I'm going too long, sorry. Just a few examples of my mother's life lessons. My kids will love this. Do good deeds and have good times. I don't know, you might say it too. Her mantra to daughters and to her daughters and her grandchildren. Be sure to have fun. She always wanted to have a party of some kind to celebrate birthdays and happy occasions, and would be upset if we didn't comply. Even toward the end of her life, she'd say, I want to make a party for whatever, such and such. I'll pay for it. Of course, at that point of her life, that meant we had to do all the work. As a kid, she used to admonish me not to do so much homework, but to go out and have fun. And she made the best birthday parties, by the way. Makes sense. Another one of her life lessons, be polite, thoughtful, and kind to all people, regardless of their status. She really drummed that one into us and was a great role model for it. She was attentive to everybody. For example, when she and my father went to organizational dinners, and there were many, my mother would engage the coat checkers in conversation and bring them pastries from the sweet table. Another lesson, be sure to acknowledge Hashem's great and miraculous presence in the world. As a kid, I remember coming home from school one day to find an artistic-looking tangerine with its picturesque leaf still attached on the kitchen table, with a large note in my mother's beautiful curlicue handwriting, God's handiwork. We also had an old-style chalkboard on the back of our kitchen door on which she wrote, again in her distinctive handwriting, with God's help, all is possible. Seize the moment. When an opportunity comes along, try to say yes and make it happen. She loved the thrill of a good challenge and encouraged us to do the same. My mother also taught us not to be afraid to question authority. Whether it be a doctor, a prescribed drug, a recommended medical treatment, a store rule, or a potential scam, We were trained to think for ourselves and make our own decisions. Many a time upon arrival at a hospital ER, she'd adamantly refuse some of the tests they would recommend. She would routinely challenge doctors' opinions while somehow simultaneously ingratiating them. And she'd never be afraid to ask them if they had washed their hands. If she continued to flirt with that doctor, then we knew she was feeling better. She and my father were the perfect team for almost 60 years, complementing each other in so many ways as opposites often attract. Both community-minded, they always admired and respected one another in a very special way. That was our role. Okay, I am at the end part. A few days before leaving this world, my mother said, "I didn't know life would be so short." How funny is that? She said she thought she would live forever. Her spicy, youthful zest for life indeed lulled us all into thinking that. I believe that Hashem gave her arichos yamim, long days, long years, as a reward for her extraordinary diligence in kibbud av va'em, honoring her father and mother. Her whole life, she was fiercely devoted to serving her parents. Well, her age of 102 years has the same numerical digits as the number 120, just flipped. So, in a sense, she lived very close to the ultimate ad 120 shana, the ideal 120 years. Ima, I believe that you certainly made yourself visible to Hashem in this world. Hopefully, in the next world, in Olam Haba, God will reveal himself to your neshama, to your soul, in some appropriate, reassuring way. As it says in the classic, iconic Eshet Chayil, Woman of Valor prayer, Tenu la mipri yadeha, v'halaluha v'ashari maseha. Give her credit for her achievements, and let her deeds be praised at the gates. Ima, you have been the quintessential, albeit unique, woman of valor. You even have a plaque in your house from Yeshiva women that says so. May Hashem take good care of you now.
I'm Justice Robert E. Gordon, and you're watching TAPED with Rabbi Doug.
Welcome back. I am here with Rebbetzin Hilda Rapoport. She is not only a neighbor of Bnei Ruven, where this Torah dedication is taking place, but she's also a founding member with her late husband, Rabbi Shlomo Rapoport, of blessed memory, who was the principal for so many years of Ida Crown Jewish Academy, Chicago Jewish Academy. And Rebbetzin, it's so good to have you with us today here. How many years have you been really involved with Bnei Ruven?
Well, that would date me, so I'm not going to say, but it's many years, and it's been my schus to be connected with it. As a matter of fact, my husband, Shlomo, alav shalom, was the associate rabbi with Rabbi Schusterman many years ago when there was an overflow crowd, and he was the rabbi in this room who did all the work at this side of the place, and Rabbi Schusterman was, of course, the main rabbi. And I consider that one of my precious memories.
Now, were you born in Chicago?
Yes, I sure was. I shouldn't be surprised by the weather, but I still am.
Well, here we are with gorgeous weather today. Tell me about growing up in Chicago, the Jewish community. Did you live on the west side?
Well, I lived in several places. I went to school at the University of Chicago, so that was the south side, but I had to get there every day. However, I'm not really connected with the south side. I'd say that for the majority of my life, I've been connected with activities and organizations and schools and colleges on the north side.
On the north side.
And I've been connected with Yeshiva women, the HDC, and of course, memories assail me. My mother, of blessed memory, Hilda Ross, was a co-worker or a fundraiser together with Rabbi Sachs of blessed memory many years ago for the Associated Talmud Torahs.
Wonderful.
So interesting how the legacy is passed on.
Absolutely, through all the educational institutions, through your family.
Yes, but the truth is, if you wait long enough, Rabbi, good things come. Be'ezras Hashem.
Amen.
If you wait long enough.
That's right, and this Torah dedication today is certainly a wonderful event for the community and for Bnei Ruven, in memory of Judge Bender, and certainly for the members of Bnei Ruven to have another simcha in the community here.
I didn't know about it, and I just, God gives us good times and we don't expect them. I just took a little walk, and here I am near Bnei Ruven, and here I see people streaming in, and I see them. What's the purpose? They had a great simcha, the giving of a new Sefer Torah. And I think Rabbi Zeldin showed me, or was it someone else here, I don't recall now, which Sefer Torah is the new one,
right.
Although they are equally, well, a Sefer Torah needs mazel too, because you want to read from it. And so every Sefer Torah should get its opportunity.
To be used, absolutely.
I want to say that Rabbi Zeldin has been one of my, well, I'm honored to know you, to care about you and your career and your column, which I read constantly.
In the Chicago Jewish News.
Yes,
thank you.
it does. Yes, that's right. And it gives me great joy to share the ideas that you have, the unique ideas. I do thank you for the friendship.
Well, you are a dear friend for so many years, and of course a mentor to me, as your husband was my own principal and my father's boss, my father teaching at Ida Crown. So it's such a nice thing, and my father had the privilege of teaching your children, so it's really a Lador Vador from generation to generation.
Interesting, passing the torch of Torah.
And your daughter davened in my shul, so it all makes,
well, I love davening in your shul too.
It's
a little far for me to walk now, but on occasions when
a pleasure.
When I can take a car, I get there for the festivities.
And we love you being there. And I want to thank you for being with us here on the TV show today. And I wish you much in 57-72. Gesund. It should be a good gebench year, or a healthy year. It should be a year full of simcha for you and for all Klal Yisrael.
Amen.
Amen.
And I reciprocate, and it gives me great pleasure to wish you, Rabbi, and your beloved wife, your sweet wife, and your children, and Klal Yisrael, a year of peace and a year of gesund. You know, if you have good health, you've got it all. I used to want the extras in life. Who doesn't? However, I'm smarter now. I know that if you wait long enough, good things will happen.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I
wish you muscle in your career. You're a wonderful, influential, and inspiringly
You're very
in
kind.
the Jewish community.
You're very kind.
Thank you so much.
The honorable, wonderful Rebbetzin Hilda Rapoport. Stay with us here on Tape with Rabbi Doug. Thank you again.
Thank you.
I want to thank all of you for your patience. This was a lengthy levaya, but she wouldn't have wanted any other way. I can assure you. Anybody who knows her knows that. This is what she would have wanted, and I thank you for giving her that final send-off.
Well, he's the rabbi for me. Anytime you need, you're gonna get married or you're gonna die. Gonna see Rabbi Doug. Gonna see Rabbi Doug. Gonna see Rabbi Doug. Gonna see Rabbi Doug on the TV tonight.
This has been a Taped with Rabbi Doug production.